Rose Marziale.
He did such a good job pronouncing my last name. I didn't even tell him how to do that. You did. Hi, I'm Rose. Hi. When I was 6 years old, I decided to try lying for the first time. I had heard of lying. I knew it existed. I knew it was like a common thing that people did, but I also knew that it was bad, and I am a good girl, so I never did anything bad. Not never, but by age 6. So, to kind of get you an idea of what I was like when I was 6 years old, my favorite hobby was learning, and my role model was Matilda from the Roald Dahl books. Yeah! She should be everyone's role model, right? Like, she's so smart that she can move things with her mind. Why are we all trying to do that all the time? Anyway, and my favorite game to play was a game I made up called Homework, where I would make my little brother, who was 2 years younger, I would teach him like math or reading, and then I would make up an assignment based on what he had just learned, and then he would fill it out, and then he would turn it in, and then I would grade it, and then I would give him like a sticker or something. So it was literally homework, exactly, but fun for me. So obviously I was very excited to start school, and elementary school was like real school, so it was a very big deal. And I got there, and it was what I had always dreamt of. It was even better. I got to learn all day, and I loved my teacher. She was incredible. Her name was Ms. Noon, Ms. And that always stuck with me. Yeah. And she was amazing. She was so warm. She was loved by everyone. She was this older woman with glasses on those strings and a giant butt that was right at eye level when I would stand up and she would walk in front of me. She was so great. My parents loved her. Everyone's parents loved her. All the kids loved her. We even, once a week, we would line up. Our class would line up once a week to hug her. And we didn't think that was weird. We were just like, yay! So, and then I ruined it all. Because one day in class, I got mad. And I've never been a very angry person. So when I do get angry, when I'm in it, I'll realize, like, oh my God, I'm feeling anger. And then I'm obviously no longer angry once I'm like, whoa, I'm feeling this thing. Then I'm just like off, but then I'm like, oh, people think I'm mad, and I've made this whole to-do about being mad. Better push this and then easily transition out. That's still how I act, by the way. It's not good. Anyway, so at this point, I was like just getting more and more angry, and was like, had a thought that came to me, which was, what would happen if I threw a chair at Miss Noon right now? This was in first grade. The chairs were this big. But I still have the thought. And also, these are like, I hope people have thoughts like this all the time. I know that I do, which is just like, what would happen if I did this? What would happen if I punched this salesperson? What would happen if I kissed this homeless man? What would happen if I stole a car? You know, it would change your whole life in one action. Like, that's crazy. So I tried it out. I picked up the tiny chair, and I threw it at Miss Noon. She was very shocked. I know, it's horrible. She didn't know what to do. Well, she knew what to do, call my parents. So she called my parents, and we all had to sit down. My mom, my dad, Miss Noon, and I were all sitting down, and they asked me, Rose, why did you throw a chair at Miss Noon? They're very calm about it because it was like, this is not something you would do. So they asked me, why did you throw a chair at Miss Noon? And I was still like really feeling the like bad kid vibes for this one day. So I was like, let's see how bad I can be. This is an excellent opportunity to try out lying, a thing I've heard about but never been bad enough to do. So they asked me why I threw a chair, and I said, I didn't throw a chair. So then my mom, who was a preschool teacher, very sweetly asked me, she was like, Rose, are you saying that Miss Noon made it all up? Why would she do that? To which I said, yes, she made it all up. I don't know why. This made my dad very upset. And up until this point, like, they had been very patient with me, and just a lot of like bewilderment, like a lot of staring was happening. But then after that, my dad, oh, I should also mention my dad is a giant Italian man who looks exactly like Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. So he's like very intimidating. So he gets up and he like storms across the room, he's pacing, he whirls around and he points at me, gets right in my face, and he was like, Rose, do you understand what you are saying? You are accusing your teacher, who is an adult, of lying. And I looked at all of them so defiantly and I was like, yeah. Because I had realized at this point, I was like, oh, once you tell one lie, if you just never tell the truth again, there's nothing they can do about it. You just keep lying and lying and lying, and then what's gonna happen? I figured something would happen, but I didn't know what, so I was like, I'm just gonna see this through. And I felt really bad. Miss Noon, obviously, she was my favorite teacher. I felt horrible, and she was so disappointed. She kept saying like how she was so confused about how this had happened, and we had such a good relationship. But I had committed to this lie, so I had to like follow through and see what would happen. Here's what happened. Nothing. They all, at some point, literally gave up. I don't know how they arrived at the conclusion, but they all kind of were just like, this is crazy. This is completely out of character. We don't know what to do. My parents later were like, we obviously knew you were lying and that your teacher wasn't making it up, but like, we didn't know what to do. And I also was sassy, and I was like, you can't punish me because you can't prove that I'm lying. So they didn't. So they all gave up. They were like, well, this was weird. And then we all went home, and I came back to school the next day. Everything was completely normal. We never spoke about it again. And I went back to being a good girl after that one day. And it honestly did affect me because I have felt so guilty for actual decades since that point that I have made a very conscious effort not to lie for most of my life, which is probably confusing you right now, right? Thank you.
Rose Marziale.